Shriver shared in a podcast interview that she made her kids stand up out of respect whenever she entered a room. And guess what? They're grown adults and they still do this to today. So B, is this politeness, or is this like going way too far?
This is way too far. And what this is something that I think a lot of parents get confused, which is teaching respect versus teaching deference to my ego as your superior.
Whoa.
Yes.
Damn.
And I don't like that because I think that the power dynamic between a parent and a child is one that is obviously necessary, but one that can get very skewed very quickly when then ego starts to come into play. So she has her children stand up and, when she enters the room. She has them stop everything they're doing and look at her. She says in this interview, she tells them to write her thank you notes when she's taken them somewhere. What is in that is respect, and what in that is feed my ego as your mother. It doesn't really...
Or just habitual tradition, is it? Like that she learned it?
Well, she learned it.
You know what I mean?
She is part of the Kennedy family.
Yeah.
But eventually you're going to have a child somewhere down the line who's gonna say, this doesn't make sense. I don't need to learn respect this way. I don't want to have this type of relationship with my mother. So there's respect and there's ego involvement, and she's doing a lot of ego.
Wow, that's interesting take.
Good.
I had a slightly different take. Only because I didn't have to stand up every time my parents walked into a room, because I think that'd be a lot of standing up. It's like, oh, she's back.
Because we all had like 3 to 5 rooms.
It was like,
right?
that's a lot of standing up. But I did have to, whenever my parents called me wherever they were, I had to answer yes, mom, or yes, dad.
Oh, yes.
I could never say what.
You cannot say a what.
Certain death, or not respond. The not responding. And you know what? When you're a kid, I know what they were doing it. They were making sure that I had a lot of respect for them and respect for elders. I also, whenever we had adults come to the house, I always had to greet them with whatever time of day. So good afternoon, Mr. and such, nice to see you.
Yeah.
I had to get up from wherever I was to come and greet them, and then I could go back to my room. And at the time as a kid, I just did it because it was just whatever. But now as an adult, I really appreciate that I have those things instilled in me, because I meet a lot of socially inept adults, and I'm like, wow, you don't know how to make eye contact, you don't know how to shake a hand, you don't understand that there's an elderly lady here that perhaps you should stand up. And recently we had a young lady, 4 years old, whose dad is right over there. His name is George, he works with us, whose parents have instilled that. And I'll tell you something, when I meet a 4-year-old child who's able to give me eye contact and say, hi, my name's Katerina, I was like,
you melt. You melt. Yeah,
so
because it does feel rare.
I know some people think it's too much, but I loved it.
I think there's a balance,
And I'm gonna adopt her and take her. Watch out, George.
I think there's a bit of a balance, though, and I think what's most important to me as a parent is making sure that they are respectful when I'm not watching. That it's not just out of rote, that they actually learned it and they believe it. I'll tell you this quick story, which is the story that Jason's dad often tells about Jason. So he was a single father, he was raising his son, and his son was a bit of a disaster, Jason. He was had a messy room, he wasn't always very communicative, he wasn't doing seemingly doing his chores all the time. And yet when Jason's dad went to parent-teacher night, the teacher was like, Jason's so communicative, he always keeps his desk so neat, and he's so polite and so respectful. Well, this is it. So Jason's dad comes back home and he goes, what the heck? This is what your teacher is saying about you. Why are you that way? Why aren't you that way here? And he said, well, Dad, because here's where I don't have to be that way. Right. And the subtext within that is that I feel safe, I feel seen, and I can be myself in a kind of freewheeling way at home. Now, some people may take issue with that, but to me, I thought there was something beautiful. He knows how to behave in the world, but it comes home and is the comfort and his more authentic self. So there's something to be said for that.
Also, listen, I know we're running out of time, but there are also a lot of teachers and a lot of counselors are like, we're not seeing that. We're getting these kids and they don't have, their parents have no role, so they come to us and we don't even know what to do. And sometimes the parents are asking the teachers, hey, can you get my kid to listen to me? And it's like, what is happening here?
They're listening.
So I don't know.
They are listening. I'll just say that Jaya, I often will hear people say, oh, Jaya gave his please and thank you. So he doesn't always do it at home, but he does it out in the world. So anyway, B, it is a pleasure to always.
Always. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.